Alright, so today we're going to look at solving rational equations. So to solve a rational equation, the first thing that you need to find is find the common denominator. Okay, when you find that common denominator, you are going to multiply the equation by it. Okay, so when you multiply the equation by this common denominator, the denominators are going to go away. And when they go away, you will then solve the equation. So it'll be either a linear equation, quadratic. That's usually the two that it would be. A linear quadratic equation. So you want to solve that. Alright, once you solve that, you always need to make sure to check your solution. Because if you have a variable in the denominator, it could make that denominator 0. So you just need to make sure that it does not. Alright, so let's look right here. So we've got x over 4 is equal to 2 plus x minus 30 over 30. So what is the common denominator between 4 and 30? So the common denominator here is going to be 12. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply the entire equation by 12. And basically I'm multiplying by 12 over 1. So I'm going to multiply each part by 12. So if I multiply 12 here, this will turn into a 3x. This will turn into 3x. If I multiply 12 here, this will be 12 times 2, which is a 24. And then here, if I multiply this one by 12, it'll be a 4 times all of that numerator, like that. Okay, so I'll distribute that 4 there, so this will turn into 3x is equal to 24 plus 4x minus a 12. Okay, I'm going to combine my like terms here, so this will be 3x is equal to 24 minus 12, which is a 12. Then I'll move the 4x to the other side, so I'm going to subtract a 4x. This will become a negative 1x. And then I'll divide those sides by negative 1, so x is going to be equal to a negative 12 here. And negative 12 is the solution, and it does not make the denominator 0 here because there is no variable in the denominator. Okay? All right, let's look at another one here. Okay, so I've got 2 over x plus 1 minus 1 over x minus 1 is equal to 2x over x squared minus a 1. So I need to factor this one, this x squared minus a 1. So this will factor to x minus 1 times x plus a 1. So let's just go ahead and figure out what needs to be eliminated from the solutions. So what needs to be eliminated from your denominator? So x can't be equal to a 1 or a negative 1, right? Because if I plug a 1 or a negative 1 in there, it is going to make the denominator 0. So what is my common denominator? My common denominator is going to be each one of those, x minus 1 times x plus a 1. So I'm going to multiply everything by x minus 1 times x plus 1, right? So if I'm multiplying, I multiply each part, so I'm multiplying all 3 of these things by that. So when I multiply this one by, this is just like all of that over a 1, my x plus 1's go away, so this is going to be 2 times x minus a 1. Okay, when you multiply this part, the x minus 1's are going away, so I'm going to be left with this x plus a 1. And then here, everything will go away, so I'll be left with a 2x. So now we'll just solve. And this is just going to be a linear equation, so this will be 2x minus a 2 minus a 1x minus a 1 is equal to a 2x. So 2x minus a 1x is a 1x minus a 3. If I subtract, so this will be a negative 3 is equal to an x. I like to rewrite that because I like the variable on the other side. So x will be equal to a negative 3. That does not make either of the denominators 0, so my solution here is good. Okay? Alright, let's do this one. So, factor this denominator. So this will be x minus 4 times x plus a 2. Okay? So what needs to be eliminated from the denominator would be a 4 and a negative 2. So those cannot be my solutions, right? So what is my common denominator? It's just both of those things multiplied together. So I'm going to multiply everything by x minus 4 times x plus a 2. So I'm going to multiply everything by that. All three of these terms. So my x minus 4 is away, so I'll be left with 1 times x plus a 2. Okay, here my x plus 2's go away, so I'm going to be left with 5 times x minus a 4. And then everything goes away here in this last one, so I'll be left with a 6 there. So I need to distribute, so this will be x plus 2 minus a 5x plus a 20. So this will be a negative 4x plus a 22 is equal to a 6. Okay, so then we will move the 22 to the other side, so I will subtract, so this will be a negative 4x is equal to a negative 16. Divide both sides by negative 4, so x is going to be equal to 4. Can that happen? Nope. So this one is going to have no solution. Always make sure that you check your solution. Okay, so that is solving rational equations. Let me know if you have any questions.